Hey guys, it's Shivani, and today we have a super special guest here with us, the pride and joy of my life, the apple of my eye, my darling baby BULBASAUR. And he is going to be here with me today as I take you through the interview process that helped me get here and be an ALT in Japan. So let's get right into it. First things first, a lot of you guys have been asking what company I work for. So let me put you out of your misery, put an end to your suffering, and tell you that the company that I work for as an ALT is Borderlink. It's really one of the few companies that takes people from all over. So I applied to Borderlink through gaijinpodjobs.com. It was pretty straightforward. It was just like apply now, apply to this position. And then I got a reply in the mail saying that I had been shortlisted for the first round and that it would be a group discussion and an orientation. Also, along with that mail, they sent an application form, and this is a pretty long, detailed application form that you have to fill out and send to them, and it does take a while. I'll get more into the details of that application form later. So once they had confirmed the day for my group discussion, we went ahead and had that via Skype. It was a person from Borderlink and 4 other people including me from different countries. There was someone from, I think, Nigeria, someone from Uganda, someone from Lebanon, and then there was me. It was pretty easy, the first round. What they do is they tell you about the company and they tell you about what an ALT is required to do, what the job description of an ALT is. They tell you a little bit about the Japanese school system. They tell you how Borderlink works as a company in conjunction with the ALTs. As they're explaining these things to you so that you get familiarized with the concept, they slip in these group discussion topics. We just had 2 topics that we had to talk about. The first question that we were asked was, what do you think your role as an ALT is outside the classroom? And then they gave us like a few minutes to just talk about it. So we just took turns talking about it. It wasn't really a discussion. We were just answering one after the other. And after all 4 of us had answered, if anyone wanted to add on or say that, oh, I really liked what you said or something like that, they gave us that time. But it was pretty short. Then the other thing in the group the other question in the group discussion was if you suggest an activity to do in the classroom and the JTE, which is the Japanese teacher of English, or the homeroom teacher, who both of these are usually a little higher above than you, so if they don't agree with the activity, what would you do or how would you react? After this, we had the whole, they said bye-bye, and just 2 days later they got back saying that, yeah, you've got through to the second round, and they gave me a couple of dates to choose. After we had decided on a date together for the second round, we went into the second round. Round 2 is pretty detailed. In round 2, it's a one-on-one interview, just you and the interviewer. And the main questions that they ask in round 2 are the questions that are on the application form that they sent you with the mail when you get in through round 1. I don't know if they've changed their way of doing it, but that is what happened for me. So firstly, they ask you about your general background, and they also ask if you have any experience teaching as an ALT in Japan or anywhere else. They also ask about your hobbies, your talents, if you have anything that you like to do on the side. So yeah, you can mention whatever you want over there. No compulsion to sound extra smart or extra teacher-like. Just, again, be true to yourself. They ask you if you have any food restrictions. It could be like something that you're allergic to, or if you have any religious food restrictions, you can let them know. I think mostly they ask this when it comes to like school lunches, kyushoku. So in elementary school and junior high school, they have this thing called kyushoku, which is a school provided lunch. And usually if you have a lot of allergies or food restrictions, you would not be able to do the school lunch because it's not in the Japanese custom to alter meals for each person. So I think that's really why they want to know. They also ask if you smoke and if you have tattoos and stuff. Tattoos usually aren't a problem as long as they're not visible. So if you have like a tattoo that gets covered up with your cloths, it's usually not a problem. I think they also ask for piercings. For women, these ear piercings, these kind are normal. Multiple piercings, not so much. But I also do know teachers who have multiple piercings and wear like multiple earrings. So it really depends on the school. This is kind of an important one. They ask if you have any Japanese proficiency, and if you do say that you have any Japanese proficiency, they will most likely try to have a small conversation with you in Japanese. But don't worry if you don't have any proficiency, because when I came here, a lot of the ALTs that I spoke to didn't know any Japanese at all, and they got in just fine. They'll also ask if you have experience teaching or interacting with children. I would say that honesty is the best policy. Maybe don't lie. See, I didn't lie. I didn't have any experience teaching kids or any of that, and I got through just fine. So another thing that they ask is what level would you like to teach. So they usually have elementary school, junior high school, and then high school. And I think most ALT jobs go to elementary and junior high, if I'm not mistaken. But I just answered that I would be comfortable with any of them. Like, I might prefer junior high and elementary, but I would be fine teaching any grade. And I think they like that because that kind of shows that you're not stubborn and you're not going to run out on them if you get something that you don't want. This is a very important question. They will ask you, how do you deal with problem students? What do you think you should do when it comes to problem students? And in Japan, at least right now in the school system, you don't yell at kids, you don't hit kids, definitely. And it's always more about encouraging the students rather than blatantly just pointing out their flaws and putting them down. So just keep that in mind when you give your answer. Another very important thing to consider, and I think that is why they ask it, how will you deal with problems that you have in Japan, especially homesickness, because this is an extremely real problem. Initially, of course, there is a honeymoon phase because everything is new, everything feels great, you're still just taking in the experience. And then once you get used to the normality of your job and your life and the mundaneness of it all, that happy high that you're on will come crashing down, and you will see all the flaws with Japan. You will miss home, and it's very important to have that conversation with yourself and understand how you think you'll react in that situation and what you will do to make yourself feel better. And they also want to know this from you, so maybe have that answer prepared. One of the most fun questions is where do you want to be placed and why? They give you an option of region, so you have like Kanto, Chubu, Kansai, and you get to choose your region. And I think they have a little dialogue box below that lets you elaborate where you want to be. One thing to keep in mind over here is that even if you put your preference down, it's not guaranteed that you're gonna get it. Please go with that in mind. You might get the exact opposite of what you asked for, and I have seen that happen to people, so be prepared for that. Now coming to the money matter, they ask you after purchasing your air ticket, how much money will you have at your disposal when you come to Japan? And this is possibly one of the most important things on your application form and one of the most important things that you have to consider before coming here. When you move to Japan, they will ask you to have at least 500,000 yen saved, and this is after you buy your air ticket. So you need to have 500,000 yen to survive your first 2 months in Japan. Now, why the first 2 months is because the way Japan works is they pay you the salary for a month of work at the end of the next month. So suppose you work in March, you will get the money that you made in March at the end of April, and that is why you need 2 months worth of money to survive. Another question that they ask that I think is pretty redundant is, will you be willing to commit 1 year of work to Borderlink? But I think they have to ask this anyway, because if after 3 months you just decide that you want to up and leave, it becomes pretty difficult for them to replace you at the school. And more than that, it really inconveniences the school and the kids. So do keep that in mind when you apply. Now coming to the most important part of the interview, they will ask you to do a mock lesson. Now, they don't give you a lot of time to prepare for this lesson. I got 3 minutes after they gave me the brief, and my brief was to one, teach a nursery rhyme to kindergarten kids, and 2, to teach students, like elementary school students, like and dislike with the help of fruits. And your interviewer will act like your student, so please feel free to use them as a student and to kind of elicit answers from them. This was basically the whole interview. At the end, my interviewer did give me time to ask him any questions if I had, and I just asked if he liked working with Borderlink, and of course he's not gonna say no, right? But he did say that it was pretty good in the way of support, and they always kind of had your back. Another thing that I asked is, did he think it was possible to save money on the Borderlink salary? And he said that it does depend on your lifestyle. So far I have been able to save money on my salary, but of course that is a topic for another video. We will have another video with all the money concerns, because yes, that is a very real thing. But yeah, this is basically what I leave you with today. Please let me know in the comments if you have any other questions. Bulbasaur and I will be here to help you out. If this video was helpful, please like, share and subscribe, and hopefully Bulbasaur will make an appearance in the next video if I have to do it at home. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.